Hello, and we're live, and welcome along to InspireTalk this evening. This is our inaugural show, and we're excited to bring it to you wherever you are in the world, because I know you could be in Europe, or you could be in the United States, or you could be even right here in Australia, and that's one of the amazing things about the internet is we can run a show like this and bring it to you. InspireTalk is a really exciting event that we're bringing to you tonight, and it's really part of a vision that we brought along. And it's all about bringing to you some exciting people who are going to tell you a little bit about their success, how they got started, what inspired them to do what they do, what it took to actually achieve that success, and how they got around the obstacles, and finally the values and practices that they've put in place in their lives to make sure that they do meet success and they continue to have success onwards and into the future. All the hosts of the show this evening, I'm really to join up with and bring to you, and I want to introduce them to you right now because they bring along a lot of success in all of the aspects of their world as well. And the first one I'd like to introduce you to is Wendy Grenfell. Welcome along tonight, Wendy.
Thank you, Stuart, and lovely to be here. Really excited to be here with my colleagues and with Samantha. So I'm CEO and founder of a business school, a school of modern leadership called Elgin Hall, and we specialise in very individualised executive education. No two people learn the same, no two people lead the same. So it just makes sense that you would have a very individualised curriculum. So that's what we specialise in. Lots of fun, love playing in that zone. Very excited to be interviewing Samantha today, one of our star entrepreneurs, or our star entrepreneur of the evening, because her commodity and the thing that she does really well is love, or the heart. And the way it connects to my business is that my vision is to produce heart-centered leaders. So there's a real connection with that. You know, love takes on many forms, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what Samantha's got to say about that. But that's about enough for me, so I'll hand it back to you, Stuart, and then you can introduce my colleagues.
Awesome, thanks, Wendy. And we have a diverse range of hosts tonight, and going to the opposite spectrum, I want to introduce you to Federico Reeve. Federico, welcome along this evening.
G'day, Stuart. Great to be here tonight. It's a pleasure to be in this forum with 4 talented people, or 5 if I include myself. It's also an honour to have Samantha as guest speaker, our very first guest speaker of this show, which will hopefully continue running in the long term. In a nutshell, I run a niche coaching practice called Creative Entrepreneur based in Melbourne, but my services are offered all around the world through online platforms. I do coaching, mentoring for business leaders and entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. And pretty much my motto is you are not born an entrepreneur, you become one if you think like one, because ultimately anyone can be entrepreneurial or successful for that matter. And certainly I think Samantha has that edge over her competitors, and hence why I thought she'd be a great guest for tonight.
Awesome, thanks very much, Federico. And going to another spectrum entirely, I'd like to introduce you to Ranil Rajapaksa. Welcome along, Ranil. Good to see you this evening too.
Hello, hi guys, hi Google World. Good to see all of you. Also, awesome to always hang out with my colleagues as well. But Samantha, nice to meet you. Really looking forward to our discussion today. I run a business in the digital advertising game. So we basically help advertising agents connect with their target market online. And a lot of what we do is actually about relationship management. At the end of the day, advertising, marketing, what makes the world go around is about connections. So I'm really looking forward to hearing about how Samantha, I guess, developed the business, but also on top of that, more of a holistic approach to relationships and yeah, love in general. So yeah, really excited about today.
Thanks very much, Ranil. And I think we're all sitting here in massive anticipation because the lady we do have on, as you've all heard, her name is Samantha, but she's a really inspiring young entrepreneur, and she's been utilising the internet to develop her businesses. And not only that, but she's taken basically affects us all, and I'm going to let her reveal that to you. So I'd like to welcome you along. Samantha Jane, thank you for coming, and good to see you this evening.
Thank you, Stuart. Thanks, guys. It's really great to be here tonight. I'm super excited and absolutely honoured to be on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Samantha. And perhaps you could just kick off just by telling us about your business, what it is currently, and what you do for it.
Sure. Well, the business I own was founded in 2005. It's called Blue Label Life, and we look after busy professionals and executives who are looking for long-term love. So we offer a personalized matchmaking service, and we've also implemented dating and relationship coaching for people who have been unlucky in love and want to break those patterns and create new effective ones.
Awesome. Wendy, do you want to kick in with one of the questions that we've got lined up tonight?
I would, but you just asked my question, Stuart. But I'll add to that. That is really exciting, Samantha. And where are you based? Are you based in just one capital city, or a lot of capital cities, or globally? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We're based in Sydney, Melbourne, and Canberra, and that's where matchmaking service is offered. We are expanding over to New York later in the year. What we do also offer a global service for both men and women with dating and relationship coaching. So we also do offer an online component to our service, but in terms of physical matchmaking, it's Sydney, Melbourne, and Canberra. And we utilize a really scientific approach. So we implement compatibility testing, photographic profiling, and most importantly, ensuring our clients' values are aligned and they enter lasting relationships.
Okay, something that stuck out for me that sounds really interesting that I don't really know anything about, photographic profiling. What's that? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, a picture says 1,000 words, and often when somebody looks online, for example, if you look on online dating, most people look at photos only, and they shift on, and what happens, something called the paradox of dating, where there's ample choices, and people have swiper's remorse because it's, like, imagine if you were to go to a store, buy a pair of jeans, and they offered you 20 pairs to select from. You'd walk out with nothing. But if you had somebody who came to you with 3 really amazing pairs and said, look, these 3 pairs are really fantastic for you, you saw exactly how they looked, you knew exactly the background, you knew all the really important information, you'd actually end up with a beautiful pair of jeans that you own. So dating is the same, where we offer a photographic profile. So not only do we look at a person's values, we look at their long-term goals. Before you actually go out and meet someone, you know exactly what they look like. And a lot of matchmakers don't utilize photographic profiling, but it's really important because, as I said before, a picture says 1,000 words, and what somebody finds attractive is very different to what another person finds attractive. So everyone has a personal flavor.
Awesome, awesome. It's interesting too that you talk about too many choices can just overwhelm. So it's a bit like you're almost going back to the old village concept, where in the old days people stayed within their villages. They had only a few choices,
Yes.
but it worked. You know, in our great-grandparents' day, it worked. We may have only had 10 choices in our lifetime, but we ended up falling in love, and usually that lasted. So I love that concept.
Yeah, me too.
Here we go.
Stuart, sorry, was that a question you asked, or you want my thought? Well, if that's the case, I'm more interested to understand the business side of your venture and pretty much how it functions in terms of, you know, what's your point of difference? What's your secret to success in terms of what you do, given that, you know, the dating industry, I'm assuming, is very saturated, very similar to my industry in business coaching. So, in a few words, or perhaps for the audience, what is it that made you successful with what you did or do?
Heart, following my heart, being really compassionate, having a huge interest in people, never ever giving up, always looking for new ways of doing things, and to really connecting with the people, listening to what their needs and wants are. I'm seeing a massive movement since I started the business in 2005. Today, I can see that more and more people are needing help with how to connect. There is so much social media out there. People are on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, they're communicating via email. Very few people pick up the phone. Very few people actually meet in person. Everyone seems to be working online. So when it comes to connecting, people are forgetting how to do that. So I go back to basics and listen to what the people need, and sometimes they don't even know, and actually provide that for them. So in a business sense, it's never give up and always listen to what people need and want and follow your heart.
That's a very
And I suppose sorry, Renil, those values that you've mentioned, those philosophies that you share, are very much the philosophies that I keep hearing from entrepreneurs, from people out there that have accomplished something amazing, or even the game changers that we often refer to. In fact, tonight's show is about game changers, and I'd like to know your slant on that, or perhaps what your opinion is regarding you being a game changer. Do you consider yourself a game changer in your industry of dating?
I do, yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing a massive trend. I'm seeing that more and more people are actually utilizing online, so I'm embracing that rather than feeling the fear. That's where the new direction of the business is going, is all about educating and empowering and giving people the tools that they need to connect and maybe even be their own matchmaker, where I'm offering programs for both men and women. So for women to bring out their inner goddess and really understand the gender confusion that's happening, because women are successful, they're strong, they're powerful, but when it comes to relationships, they have all this fantastic career success, but when it comes to relationships, what I'm finding is a lot of women are really not sure what to do, and on the other hand, men have no idea what to do. Should they be that alpha male, or should they let the women take charge? So my biggest passion is actually educating people and giving them the power to stop this gender confusion and just develop a new way of relationships, because relationships have changed. They're really, really different from back in the olden days. So, yeah.
So I guess what I'm hearing, and my interpretation of that using my own terminology, is there's a lot of innovation in what you do. Certainly you're pioneering things maybe in a different way, and you're looking at the trends and challenging the status quo and just doing it in a very different unconventional manner. So would that sum up essentially how you would regard your success being hinged on?
Absolutely. Spot on.
Awesome, awesome. So, Renil, I did cut you off before. What were you going to ask or say?
No, it's a good segue. I was actually going to talk about innovation as well, because I think businesses need to innovate constantly in today's world, and if there's anybody that would know it, it's probably you, because people do communicate differently now than they did, 10 years ago, 2005. So how do you keep on top of the new apps that are coming out, or the new ways that people are communicating, and also I'm sure it would be, there's a lot of barriers also with technology. I totally agree with you. I actually miss the old days of actually meeting someone face to face as well, because you can tell a lot, by meeting someone face to face. However, people do hide behind false, what can you say? I guess icons, or photographs, or it's something that can be somewhat misleading as well. Do you find that it's something that you constantly need to look at ways to innovate and try and find ways around it?
Absolutely, but I always also, I guess for me where I'm at is I'm always trying to get that person back into their heart. So it is quite old-fashioned. It's about getting them to reconnect, but at the same time I am always looking at new technologies, and I'm utilizing Google Hangouts and a lot of webinars. I know that 5-10 years ago, webinars were really not very common. So today I'll release a webinar, and within an hour I'll have 200 seats filled really quickly. So it's everyone's wanting that information.
Yeah, I think 10 years ago it was called an online seminar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Samantha, quick question: in terms of where your industry is heading, do you think that the online space will gradually take over the traditional, dating arena, where you'd meet someone face to face in a bar or anything like that? So do you think that the online space will more and more become the prominent dating arena?
Definitely, it's happening right now. There's online dating apps everywhere. People are on their smartphones all the time.
And do you think that yields successful, positive results, statistically speaking, more than, say, traditional dating?
Sorry, what was that question?
Do you think statistically it's more successful doing it online than it is to do it, face to face in traditional ways?
No, I don't. That's where the paradox of dating starts to happen. So online dating really can be incredibly successful, but it's very important to open your heart, to not go through the paradox of dating. It's not to look for keep on swiping. It's all about looking at values, where what's important to you, where you want to be in a few years' time. Are you on the same path in terms of goals? Sometimes the online dating, the paradox of dating happens where people get swiper's remorse. They're just constantly looking for that next best thing, and you've got to realize that we are looking and speaking to humans. So just as if you were to buy a house, you would never find the perfect house. You always want to change the paint color, or change the color, or live in a different street. So humans need to go back to basics and really focus on connecting and taking the time to meet someone. So get out there and meet them at least 3 times before you make your mind up, because I can tell you, even with my partner, I was really not sure at first, and that's normal.
Fair enough.
So that's really interesting, Samantha. You've talked about going back to basics. You've talked about this swiper's remorse thing, about not being superficial and not looking for perfection. Would you say then that's how you stand out in the market? That's how you're unique and different than all the other dating providers that are out there? Like, what makes you different?
Absolutely. I'm all about keeping it real, and I have a background in coaching, so I look for what is not being said. So often a client will be thinking one thing and on that tangent versus what they really mean, and they don't even know what they mean. So I definitely read between the lines.
Okay, so that's very similar to coaching then, isn't it? We come across the presenting problem, but the presenting problem is never what the root problem is, which then leads to the solution. So it's interesting. I talked about that connection before in the beginning around heart-centered leadership and love, and this is another theme that's come up as well. So in the end, it is all about, like you said in the beginning, human behaviour.
100%. Yeah.
I've got a question for you, Samantha. I seem to be the one asking all the questions, but hopefully I won't dominate the show. But we've spoken about the successes of what you do, and obviously you're leading edge services. But in terms of setbacks and failures, even and the challenges that you've faced as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and throughout your journey, can you share, say, one memorable setback or even failure that we can all learn from?
Absolutely. There have been a few, but one that stands out for me was very early days, and I tell you, if I was an ostrich, I would have buried my head that very moment. I hosted an event for men and women. It was a barefoot bowls, and it was springtime, so I was really excited, and it sounded really cool. Oh, everyone's going to be there. I had all these men that said, yes, I'm there. The women said, yes, I'm there. Anyway, the night came on, and we had about 7 guys and 25 women, and the women were glaring at me, and the men just were nowhere to be seen. So, yeah, that was a big turning point for me. So if I could have buried my head, I would have, but I had to think on my toes and quickly find some men throughout the actual venue, and everything was all right in the end. But I learned all about having a
what's the
plan.
lesson? So
The
what's
lesson,
the lesson that can be learned from that? Like for someone else in business, what should they be looking at for?
have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I just trusted everyone that said they were going to turn up was going to. So for me, it was all about, okay, so next time I hosted events, now they're very successful. I have over 200 people that attend, and actually I have more men than women because I invite twice the amount of men. But I always plan. So, all right, take an upfront payment, and also it's all about managing expectations. So if the numbers are mismatched, just let the clients focus on something else. Give them activities. Give them something else. Really add value. So for me, I add a really nice educational component to it, so they feel like they've got something to take away, regardless of whether they find love or not during that night. So it's about never giving up. In a nutshell, having a plan and
I,
focusing on outcome and
I
managing
can definitely,
expectations.
yeah, I can definitely relate to all that. Thanks, Samantha. Back to you, Stuart. Maybe you've got more questions.
Yeah, so thanks. It's actually interesting to hear you talking about, how you overcome challenges. I want to take it perhaps a little bit further back, and just talk about. We could have people watching in, maybe even young people, saying, "Well, how can I do what she does?" And what I want to ask you is, perhaps if you could tell us some of the things you did when you were getting started, what worked and what didn't, and how you overcame some of those challenges.
Something I highly recommend is actually getting a mentor. I mean, I didn't until a little bit later down the track, but getting a mentor is the quickest way. Having a support network. If you can't get a mentor, get to networking events, making sure that when you have a business, you have to have a web presence. So ensuring that you've got a really great website. I always recommend, if you're not a great copywriter, I would always outsource copywriting, and looking at strategic partnerships in the early days when there's not a lot of money to spend on marketing. So look at strategic partnerships, cost-effective ways, networking events, and events are a really great way to market your business.
Awesome. I mean, I'm with you on that. And I think Federico and Renelle and Wendy, you've been running events as well, and find that that's a good way for people to come together and connect and really relate to each other.
If I could just add one comment about running events, it's about relationships, and it's about creating real rapport with real people. Even though all of that happens, say, online, at the end of the day, you've got to show genuine interest in the people you're dealing with, rather than just using automated, social media processes to get people involved. So I think to add to that is simply building genuine rapport with people.
100%.
And Renelle, you've had quite a bit of experience in this area as well, especially the online work and marketing. How do you relate to what Samantha's talking about? And you want to follow?
Look, I think it's a really, really tough time to be in online, and especially if your platform relies, on online in terms of connecting people. So I really take my hat off to Samantha. You built obviously a loyal following. I guess my question comes down to more about, where do you go from here? I mean, are you constantly? Is it a very saturated market? Because there's a lot of people kind of watching this as well in similar situations where they've got competitors, breathing down their neck as well. Is it what goes through your mind? Are you looking 5 years ahead? Are you looking a year ahead? Or are you just, like you said, going with your heart? You mentioned offline, it seems that a lot that you do is very holistic, very genuine. Is that the approach that you just have with everything? Is that something that you would probably also encourage our members to do?
Absolutely. People are looking to connect with people, not robots, and they really want to get to know you as a person. So for me, it's about letting people into my heart, because they'll let me into their heart, and that's when the transformation can happen. And yeah, it's the online market. I think it's brilliant. I think it's great if you've got competition. It means that there's a market out there. If you didn't have competition, well, that would mean you had nobody wanted the service. So I think it's a great thing. And I'm regularly connecting and being interviewed. I mean, I was just being interviewed on the same conference with 20 experts globally, including Dr. John Gray. So for me, it's about partnering with people who are my competitors, because we're not really competitors. We're here to help each other and embrace this amazing thing that we do. So I'm just all about, yeah, bring it on, make it happen, create some change, and make an
That's
impact
brilliant.
on people's lives.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I guess just on that note as well, can you share any success stories?
Oh, I have loads. Where do I start?
Give us the best.
Ah, the
One that
best.
sticks out.
Gosh. Yeah, there's one that stands out. There was in the early days, I used to go to a networking event called BNI. A lot of people have probably heard of BNI. It's a very early morning breakfast networking event. And there was this guy that he was single, and I mean seriously, seriously single. And every time, as you know, you go around the circle, every time he stood up and spoke, everyone would be like staring at him and elbowing and pointing towards me. And every time I stood up, they'd all be pointing at him. And I went for a few months, and then one day I looked at him and I said, I have found you your wife. I said, you're going to meet her on the 13th of February. I'm hosting an event. She's there. And I told him her name, and he was so excited. And I didn't tell her about him. I told him about her. They met, they connected, and they're happily ever after. They have 2 children. They live in a beautiful place in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, and they are just the most amazingly in love couple. They have the secret. They're so in love that when they are together, it's almost sickening the way they just constantly kiss each other and the affection, and you think, that's enough, guys, but I really admire it. So that's probably one of my favorite stories.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take this conversation in a slightly different slant and just explore, briefly the philosophy you share towards business, and if you have, say, a favourite tagline or a slogan or quote to share with us.
I have so many. Okay, so I love your thoughts create your reality. Like, I listen to a lot of Esther Hicks, so it's what you focus on is what you get. So your thoughts create your reality, and I always practice gratitude. And I notice that when I slip up and go back to a busy mode, that I always bring myself back to a gratitude journal, writing down everything that I'm grateful for, focusing on what I want to achieve. And a really powerful statement to say every single day is, things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. So when you have those moments, when you're being challenged, you can say, things are always working out for me, and they will. And when you're having those moments of where things are absolutely on fire, going incredibly well, there's your proof. Things are always working out for me. It helps me hugely.
I can see that as you said that, you were really tapping into your heart, into your soul, and that's kind of what's driving you forward doing what you do, and I would assume that having that strong philosophy in you enables you to overcome those challenges that often we get knocked around by, and big ones or small ones, and in terms of your clients themselves, do you teach them how to have their own philosophy to be attractive to someone else, or simply to be successful in their own right in the dating world?
Absolutely. I'm about to launch a really huge online program. It's a DIY matchmaking service where it taps into a complete dating detox, letting go of the past and discovering the ultimate attraction techniques and love languages and all the secrets that you need to know for lasting relationships and the core values and how to overcome things like boredom or the grass is always greener and building a really strong, passionate, lasting relationship.
Fantastic. Maybe back to you, Stuart. Stuart, I think your microphone is off.
Sorry, I think Wendy wanted to ask a quick question of Samantha.
Well, if you've got a burning question, you can ask it, Stuart. I'm happy to wait.
Yeah, well, look, I'm very keen on helping people watch in. You know, I know, well, also from person, but also a lot of people that I speak to, you know, that always seems like it's a step too far. It's too much for me to achieve. How do I get up there? Have you got any advice for anyone like that, Samantha? How do they get past those mental obstacles that they've got running through?
I believe a really good strategy is to acknowledge your mini-me, which is those little chatter saying I can't. Acknowledge it and move on to I can, and focus on how you can do it. Ask yourself the question of where do I want to be and what do I need to do to make it happen, and focus on those two questions and let that other stuff, it's gone. Look forward. Where do I want to be and what do I need to do?
Awesome, and it's so simple, isn't it? Really, when you think about it and you put it succinct like that, is you just got to break it down and make it lot and it really is that easy. I know Wendy is doing a lot of work to set up things going forward. She's got a lot of activity happening. Wendy, did you want to talk to Samantha about beyond the? I know she's got this project coming up, but beyond that.
Not quite sure what you mean, but I would like to ask a question, Stuart, around, you put up quite a few themes around the individuals that you help and how you do that, and then you've talked about entrepreneurial themes, and there definitely seem to be some connections. They're not dissimilar at all, so the same things that you need in order to meet the love of your life are very similar to those to be a successful entrepreneur. Tenacity, persistence, belief in yourself, minimize the head chatter, all that kind of thing. So one group of energies almost feed on the other, which is, I can really see how your business has got momentum, and so have your clients. I'd like to be the devil's advocate though. What would you say to somebody that's right outside of that, who's totally battle weary, lost all confidence, feels really awful about themselves, does not want to put themselves on the line for rejection? It's the last thing they would ever do in their whole life is to seek the help of a matchmaker or an online group. What would you say to that person? How would you, if that person walked through your door, how would you go about helping them?
So if that person was to walk through my door, I would start them on a journey of self-love, because if they don't love themselves, then it will be impossible for them to be loved by somebody else. And as a client, they would constantly sabotage. And that's not going to be good for anybody, for them, for me, for my matchmakers. So we would start with, all right, this is now, this is where you want to be, this is where you are now, where do you want to be, and let's look at the obstacles that are holding you back. And are you prepared to make those changes? And if not, then that's okay, because you can stay here. Because it is up to that person to take that step forward, because nobody likes to be rejected. It's a horrible thing, and I've been there myself, completely heartbroken, feeling incredibly low, feeling as though I'm not enough, and then it did take time to work through that, and so that person really needs time and that self-love, and they need a lot of certainty, because it sounds like to me a person like that would have a lot of uncertainty in their life, And by creating more and more certainty, they're going to gain that confidence within themselves, and that will be the turning point for them.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure that's really helpful for all of those people that sit in that category outside of the run of the people that enroll in agencies and things. So, and you're right, and I love that comment that you said. It's about start with yourself, self-love first, and everything goes from there. Which, tying it back to why we're here in entrepreneurship, exactly the same. Love you first, and everything else will fall into place. And and obviously that's the philosophy that you followed as well in order to get to the successful place that you're in as well.
Absolutely. There was a lot of self-doubt. There was a lot of negative self-talk, and it was all about, okay, so what am I really gaining out of this, and what is this costing me? So for me, I apply the pleasure-pain model. So what's this costing me? What's the consequence of staying here? All right, that's pretty painful. What if I was to do it differently? How would that feel? What's the consequence of changing my beliefs? Because a belief is just a thought that you repeat over and over and over. So it's about changing those beliefs. And they can be done pretty quickly.
Hey, Samantha,
so a good strategy for removing a major wedge, a major blocker that can get into the way of you as an entrepreneur achieving your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to cut in and ask a question, Samantha. You've got a lot of experience in the dating industry, no doubt. You've been in business for a long time. You've got a lot of wisdom to share and very strong points to highlight regarding what success is all about, or what constitutes success. Are you thinking of ever writing a book, something that you can provide the public in that regards?
Oh, absolutely. It's just time. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I have one in the pipeline currently that I'm really excited about. So I'm just, step one is launching this online program. Step two is getting into that book. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic, Samantha. Perhaps we turn back to you, Stuart.
Yeah, look, thanks very much, guys, and we're just about out of time, so we can probably start to wind up. And Samantha, perhaps this is an opportune time for us to ask you to impart with a couple of key nuggets for our audience. Just while I give you a few seconds to think about that, I'll let the others know that we'll probably go around the room and just get everyone to give us one last thought after you've given us your golden gems, Samantha. And I'd just like to reiterate what you've already told us in terms of somebody that wants to get off the ground. And that was A, to find a mentor, B, to set up a website, have a website going so you've got an online presence, and C, which I think is the most important of them all, is to seek and create your strategic partnerships. And I would say that that's probably been a fairly significant part of your success to date. With that, I'll pass back to you, Samantha, and give us something that our audience will really enjoy and take away with them.
Okay, so mindset is everything. It's really important to focus on focus on what you want, have a plan, that positive self-talk every morning, wake up, jump out of bed, be inspired, think about what you're grateful for, and have a plan. What are the 3 things you're going to achieve for the day? What are these 3 things you're going to do to get you closer to your long-term goal? And never, ever give up.
Yeah, I love it. Never give up. Wendy,
Never.
Can I you and
yes. Similar in that there are some really powerful themes here: self-love, self-belief, authentic, from the heart, remove the blockers, get to your goals, never ever give up. And I'd just like to add one other thing, because I've just come back from a media and communications course in LA, and on that course was a lady who used to have a really successful dating agency and book, and then she got divorced, and all of a sudden she thought, how can I authentically go out there and do this? So she wrote a book called Conscious Uncoupling, and I think it's where Gwyneth Paltrow, when she broke up from her husband, she read the book and got the same term. So she decided that you apply all the same strategies when you uncouple as well. So it's about connection, respect, and it doesn't have to be what people think it normally is, people killing each other. So you still use those wonderful mature skills at the other end as well. And I thought that was just a lovely example of it's, you know, they're all the strong, powerful themes no matter where you are, whether it's a business, whether it's a divorce, or whether it's in that beautiful space of actually meeting someone. So I just want to thank you too, Samantha, for sharing your insights. I really enjoyed listening to your responses, and yeah, congrats on doing so well and continuing to carve out that industry, and good luck with the book.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you.
Neil.
I'm very excited because I learned a new word today. Swiper's remorse. I'm gonna keep using that. Actually, that's brilliant. Never heard that before. You can tell I'm not single, right? The whole Tinder thing. No, look, I want to basically tell you. Well, I think it was an awesome session. You know, we did find synonyms. You know, synergy, I guess, between relationships with what you do for work, and also, I guess, the connection with business owners. I wanted to just say, I guess I've noticed that you speak very rationally, which is probably also key in terms of, you know, what business owners need to do to get up and just kind of do it. At the end of the day, we put a lot of obstacles and, you know, blindfolds and, you know, in front of us, where it's probably not that hard to see if you know, clear the clutter. And I noticed you're also very positive. You seem very the energy that you expend is coming through the screen. It's brilliant, and I think it's contagious. So, you know, it's brilliant that you've actually found your life path through a business that you obviously have a gift for. So well done, and thank you for taking part as well.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Neil.
I've had a lot of fun.
I guess if I just wanted to wrap up and say a few words myself, I think if success or what comprises a successful relationship or business relationship, I think you can describe that as a jigsaw puzzle, and that jigsaw puzzle is made up of many pieces, perhaps 100 or more pieces, and the things that you've shared tonight, Samantha, about vision, love, perseverance, intuition, are those pieces to that equation or to that big puzzle. But the exciting thing for me is you know, the more I talk to people, game changers in the world like yourself, the more I keep hearing of what it takes to be successful. And I can definitely say that particular word, say perseverance, constitutes that puzzle to that piece of that big puzzle. So what I'm saying is, anyone out there who aspires to be successful just needs to tap into those pieces or into those core elements and pretty much put them together in some kind of sequence and stick to it, because if you can bring those pieces together, then ultimately you've got that vision or that puzzle, if that makes any sense. But I just wanted to thank Samantha too for coming along as a guest speaker, and you know, for us to have this unique opportunity for you to be the first guest speaker of this you know, show that will hopefully continue running. So once again, thanks, Samantha, and maybe Stuart, if you want to wrap up.
Yeah, so you've been watching InspireTalk this evening, and we've had the pleasure of having a guest tonight in the form of Samantha Jane. Thank you again, Samantha, for your contribution tonight. And I just want to finish off by just repeating what Samantha just said to us just a few seconds ago, and that was, first of all, focus on what you want, have a plan, and never ever give up. And with that, we're going to close out the show. Thank you very much. See you all later.
Bye.